Game jams. You get to make amazing games with other devs. And wait, there's a prize? What if I actually tried to win a game jam? Would I be able to get rich off this, or would I sell from my lack of skill? To figure this out, I opened Studio and entered a game jam in the server of Smarty Devs. After this, I immediately remembered that I have no idea what I'm doing. But I decided that I just have to lock in and start. The first thing that I decided to start with was the 2-player machines. And wait, I just realized I haven't even told you guys what my idea is. The theme of the game jam was Easter. I decided that I wanted to make one of those 2-player carry games, but mine would be with a bunny. Super creative idea, right? Alright, well, back to making the 2-player machines. The first part I started to make was the actual machine because I can't code anything without a model, right? And this is what the end result looked like. After I had the machine done, I cracked my fingers and started to code it. First thing I tried to make was a door for the machine, which should be pretty easy, right?
That was easy.
Wrong. I decided that I wanted to make a door that would open whenever a player was near it so it could look cooler, and by choosing this, I just made my life harder. Since I wanted to make a door that would open whenever a player was nearby, I had to detect whenever players were within a certain radius of a part. And this is when I realized that my super smart idea would require me to do even more work. I would now have to make a part that is in the center in between the 2 machines, because that would be the part that determines how far the players were. After ages, I finally added the part, made the script, and got it working. With the overcomplicated door working, I now need to code the hardest part, the actual 2-player system. To make the 2-player system, I would need to know when 2 players are in the connected to make one player become a bunny.
Alright,
and
well, it's time to actually make this.
To make this script, I will first need a way to connect the players together so they can partner up. My first idea for this was to use a variable in a script that would keep track of the players, but eventually I realized this would not work very well. My second idea was to use a string value, which is a value that can basically hold a piece of text. So what I was going to use this for was to hold the players' names. This would allow me to know who the players were partnered with. Now I just had to code my idea, which wasn't too hard, but before I started to track who was paired up with who, I had to actually make the machine work. Duh. I can't just make an overcomplicated door and call it a day. So the next thing I did was detect when the players were in the machine by using Roblox touched event, which I kind of regretted later. After I made that, I quickly made a leave machine button so players weren't trapped in the machine forever. And did I mention that I only have a month to make this entire game? And I have to do it all by myself. So things need to be done quickly, as I can't just work on the game every day. The next system I need to make was the actual connecting system. Now that I had a decent way of detecting when players were in the machine, all I had to do was connect 2 players once they were both inside. Pretty easy, right? Yeah, no. Even though I could connect the players together, there were many problems, like players leaving the machine when the countdown started, or the fact that I still hadn't made any bunny mechanics. Ignoring this, I started to code stuff I needed for the bunny, like a way to tell when the bunny fell, which was not too hard because I of course used the garbage touched event again. Wait, I just remembered that I didn't show the models I made. So for the bunny, I needed a model, and here it is. I also needed something for the player to carry the bunny in, so I of course used my ultra big brain and went straight to ChatGPT for ideas. ChatGPT gave me a bunch of garbage ideas, but it did give me one decent one, which was to use a basket. Also, just so you guys know, I asked the admin and it turns out that you were allowed to use AI to help you. It just couldn't fully make things. So that means I could use it to help me brainstorm ideas. Alright, let's get back to the video. So with my new super unique basket idea, I went straight to making it, right after I googled how to make a basket. Yeah guys, I don't know how to make everything, okay? But here's the final product. Now that you guys have seen the models, we can move on to the next part. The next thing I did was make one of the 2 players turn into the bunny after they paired up. And I made the basket place safe for the bunny not to fall. Also, while I was making the falling system, I had some UI issues because of my super smart idea to use the Roblox touched events. So please don't hate the buggy UI. Following that, I made a platform that was safe for the bunny to go on so it wouldn't say that they were falling even though they were on the platform. And that was pretty easy to make, but I just did it in the worst way possible. Since that was done, I could now actually start building the map because you can't have a great game without a map, right? I also needed a map so I could actually make stages, but let's just ignore that. To build the map, I first made a simple platform and added some textures. I then just started to place them next to each other so the player could walk on them. And that was my map. Yay! Okay, so I know the map was pretty boring, but I needed to make at least 2 stages that require both players. So I went straight to doing that. And here's how the stages look. With the stages done, I now had the power to do whatever I want, and the first thing I did was be lazy. Amazing choice, right? Yeah, no. But I was not going to be working on this game 24/7. Once I started to do things again, I went straight to building more of my map. I added a skybox and watched a lighting tutorial so I could make better lighting. I then made my spawn look better by placing around these low poly terrain borders I made. So the map was finally starting to look good, but I needed more. So I decided to add a fountain in the center of the spawn and make some paths by using the plugin Archimedes. With the map practically done, I decided to make 2 more stages and I placed around some rock miles I made. With all of this, my game was starting to look pretty good, but I still had one problem left, my greatest enemy, the Roblox physics. Yeah, so using the Roblox touch event was still causing some problems, but the problems were just some glitchy UI issue, which is not nearly as bad as the entire game not working because I don't understand Roblox. Basically, what was happening was these 3 things. The bunny would glitch out of the basket when it was being carried, the bunny would block the player from walking for some reason, and the bunny would sometimes go flying out of the basket when the player jumped. These were some big problems, but I had a solution to 2 of them. Basically, if I disabled collisions between the players, the bunny wouldn't glitch out anymore, and the bunny wouldn't collide with the player anymore. So this solved 2 big issues, but that left 1, and I had no idea on how to fix it, so yeah. Instead of continuing to try to fix this, I decided that I wanted to procrastinate and make some cool UI instead. So I watched some tutorials on how to make cool UI animations and made some of my own, and I got them all working. Oh yeah, that's smooth. Also, at the time when I was making UI animations, a new event came out and it was about making an Easter VFX, so I decided to spend some of my time making a cool egg hatching VFX that would hatch the bunny model used in the game, and this is how it ended up looking. With a cool VFX hatching animation and some cool UI animations, my time for the game jam was almost up. So I decided that I would have to try spending the rest of my time fixing the bunny physics problems. I couldn't end up fixing the issues that well, so I had to now submit my game. After all of this time, I'd finally got to the point of submitting my game. Was all of this really worth it? Well, let's find out. And after I submitted my game, I waited a couple days for the results to come out. While I was waiting, I looked through some of the other submissions, and there was one guy that I thought might be able to beat mine because he made a super clean shooter game that worked pretty good, while on the other hand my game also worked pretty good, but it had some bugs. But now I would just have to wait and see the result. The results came out, so as soon as I checked my phone, I found the result. I'd won 2nd place, with the guy who made the shooter game winning first. I sadly did not win first place, but I still managed to get 2nd, which is pretty good. So I took that as a win. With the game jam done, I think I'm still going to continue work on my 2-player game, as I think I can improve it more and make it more fun. But this is the story of how I almost won a game jam.
Hold me close till I get out.